What is up, Gamer Army? Welcome back once again for another exciting episode of Psycho Gamer. Today, we are going to compare and contrast some of the new companies that are out there making these arcade cabinets. Now, we're going to take a look at Legends Ultimate by AtGames. We're going to take a look at Arcade 1-Up. We're also going to take a look at some of the smaller quarter-size ones and smaller. New Wave Toys, Quarter Arcades by Numskull. And we're also going to take a look at the MVSX. Who's going to be the one to rule them all? Well, who cares? Who rules them all? It's a matter of what games that you want to play, and it's also going to matter what machine is going to give you the most value for your money as well. So stay tuned. Hit that like and subscribe. Turn on those post notifications. We're going to take a look at these different series of cabinets right after this. All right, welcome back once again. Like I said, we are going to take a quick look at some of these machines that a lot of people are really buying these days and questioning why people are buying specific ones. Now, we do have companies that are kind of going towards the nostalgic look at some of these machines. We have some that are just basically trying to push one out that has hundreds of games. We're all familiar with MAME machines that a lot of people have put out in the past, but these are some of the more mainstream companies that are actually out right now that people are like, oh, I like this company better than this company. Just like, you know, your Sony's versus your Microsoft versus Nintendo and Atari and all those other companies that have been out over the past 3 or 4 decades. So not much has really changed. You have competition out there, and competition is what drives business. It is what makes people want to buy these machines because they push each other to be better than their competition. So we're going to switch over. And the first one we're going to take a look at is AtGames Legends Ultimate Arcade. So this is one of those companies that have released a machine that has 300 games on it that doesn't really have as much of a nostalgic feel. The closest nostalgia they actually have is just the actual shape and design of the actual machine itself. So when you're looking at an expandable full-sized home arcade machine that's designed for the entire family to enjoy, unprecedented selection of 300 licensed games. Now, a lot of the games are ones that you really wouldn't have heard much about, but you are looking at just on the front here, you got Tron, which people are also in love with. It just doesn't have the actual joystick that everybody wants to see. Fix-It Felix, Burger Time, looks like Bubble Bobble, Millipede, Lion King, Aladdin. So they do have a lot of fully licensed games that are on this particular machine, which that's a good thing. Licensed games really make it where they don't get sued into oblivion. All I can say is there's been companies that have tried to release stuff that allows you to play fully licensed games on other consoles that didn't work out too well. So when you start scrolling down, you see some of the games they've got on there: Asteroids, Avalanche, arcade quality hardware, 360-degree motion for authentic paddle play, full-size premium trackball, gives you the ultimate precision and authentic play, offers a 24-inch high-definition LCD monitor, which is bigger than any of the other companies that are actually making these kind of machines right now. Bigger than MVSX, bigger than Arcade 1-Up. They're generally teetering around your 17-inch screens. So that's one thing that some people may have an issue with. When you look at the cabinets by Arcade 1-Up, we're going to go over some of those here in just a minute. They don't seem like they have quite as good a quality when it comes to them. This one, some people are actually liking the quality of these a little better, as well as the expandability for what you're looking at. I mean, you have extra USB ports on here. You just have so many different buttons and knobs. So you can play games like Centipede, Breakout, Super Breakout, things like that as well. Arcade-style pinball buttons are available as an optional accessory. So you can actually put your 2 flippers on the side there, your buttons for your flippers, so you can actually play those games. Maybe not exactly like you're supposed to play in the actual arcade slash pinball machine or pinball arcades, but it's still going to give you another option to want to buy a machine like this and add extra features on there. Now they have the whole Legends Arcade Platforms ArcadeNet, bring your own game functionality, which allows you to actually buy more games, license more games out. And they even let you play your digital PC games with the Legends Arcade Platform's unique controls and display. Arcade PlayLink functionality, you can connect a variety of HDMI, Bluetooth, and USB-based devices and consoles for access to even more content. So they have a lot of really good features for it. Just a few pictures here that you can kind of take a look at. It is kind of flashy. Now, yes, a lot of people will buy some of the competition machines that you need to get dozens of them to even equate one of these machines. But in terms of looks, it doesn't look too tremendously bad. It still kind of gives you that look, but people know that you have an arcade machine here in this case. We're going to scroll over here. Like I said, you have your spinner, you have your ball, you have all your player buttons up here, your 6 buttons, XYZ, ABC, on both sides. Yes, I know I call it the roller ball instead of a track ball, but I know it's a track ball, so don't hate on me, guys. I know you did that once before, but I got you for your track balls. And you can see there's plenty of room to put 2 players side by side. Now, that's one issue that companies like Arcade 1-Up have had, is the amount of room between the 2 controllers. You're kind of cramped, and being this a 17-inch screen, people have issues with being in such a tight location where you're really close to your buddy or family member. And this is what the front of it's going to look like. You can see some of the games they put on the front here. Obviously, they can't put all 300 games on the front here, but you have classics like Missile Command, Millipede, Space Invaders, Super Star Wars Trilogy from the Super Nintendos, Tetris, Fix-It Felix, Centipede, Burger Time, Bubble Bobble, Asteroids, Aladdin. So like I said, they have some really good licensed games that they're able to actually slap on the front here. On the side, it shows your art style here, basically touching on each of the games that are actually on the front up here as well. It's got your USB support as well. I'm assuming this is a wireless adapter. I could be wrong. It does say at games, so that may have to do with their service for their streaming service where you can buy your games. This is basically how their background looks like, and a little more of a close-up look at their buttons and joysticks and spinners and trackball. So all in all, their machines are not bad, but for nostalgia's sake, they're not really the most nostalgic looking games. That's where we're going to go into our next company, Arcade 1-Up. They're the ones that I generally do most of my videos on, as most of you know. So lately they've been putting out a lot of information for games that are coming out. Now, Arcade 1-Up is more famous for releasing games that have anywhere from 2 up to about a dozen different games on them. So you start looking at the new Midway Legacy Edition arcade cabinet, which doesn't roll off the tongue very well, but it's going to have a dozen games on it. You got X-Men 4-player arcade cabinets. I think the 3rd or 4th 4-player game that they've announced or that they're going to be releasing for the public. Now they are starting to put the actual coin stickers, adhesives on the front of them. They're going to be basically a sticker to start off, and then they're going to move over into being plastic later on. Now, looking at some of these ones for Space Ace, Dragon's Lair, and X-Men versus the new Mortal Kombat 2 Midway Legacy Edition arcade cabinet, this one is looking a bit bigger than some of the other ones that you're looking on some of the other pictures as well, especially when it comes to Dragon's Lair and Space Ace. Maybe because it looks like it's a little bit smaller cabinet in terms of looks and feel. They are looking like they're going to be changing the size of them on some of the other cabinets. So you got Killer Instinct, Atari Legacy Edition arcade cabinet, the Bandai Namco Entertainment, the Capcom Legacy Edition arcade cabinet, which is going to be a big one for a lot of people, the Super Limited Edition Dim Mak Pong, and they have many, many other ones. Now, like I said, they are basing most of their stuff off of nostalgia. John D is great at leaking little bits of information, which I guess is why his company's getting a little upset at him and not wanting him to go online and post information or do interviews for probably the next month or so they can get some of these things maybe either released or get more information out to the public just in general. But you notice not every single case is going to look exactly the same. They are basing them off a similar side. Like you look at the Legacy Edition arcade cabinet and Killer Instinct, they are changing the top up here as well, mainly so it doesn't impede the view of the actual screen. You're not hitting your head. So there's multiple reasons why people are actually liking this and disliking it at the same time. I mean, there's people that are saying, oh, it doesn't look exactly like it should in the arcade. Well, do you want every single machine to look exactly the same? You have people that are different heights. You have people that look at things at different angles. So not everybody's going to be happy, but I think the final product people are going to be pretty happy with. Now, like I said, these screens are about 17 inches versus the 24-inch Legends Ultimate. But I don't know. I think people are going to be more than happy with these particular items in their home than they would specifically with the Legends Ultimate, because it looks like you have a true arcade in your house, because you can have multiple versions of these. So what do you guys think? I know a lot of you guys have Arcade 1-Up. A lot of you guys like the Arcade 1-Up cabinets, but obviously many of you have had issues in terms of support directly from Arcade 1-Up themselves. Parts being broken and shipping. I know people with the pinball machines have had some issues as well. We're not necessarily going to go over the pinball machines in this particular one, but this company is reaching out into other categories other than just basic arcade cabinets. Now, one of the things that they're doing, obviously, they are doing a pre-order for their giant joystick, which just by looking at pictures and what they're talking about here, that sucker is going to be 3 feet tall. This is going to be kind of like one of those little small joysticks that you can get at like Walmart or Best Buy or GameStop that plugs straight in. That's going to have a bunch of games on it. In this case, Pac-Man, since it has the big Pac-Man head. Pac-Mania, New Rally X, Galaga, Galaga 88, Dig Dug, Super Xevious, Rolling Thunder, Dragon Spirit, and Mappy. So that's pretty much the 2 biggest companies that you're looking at that's making these arcade cabinets. You do have the one other company that has made one other one, and that's going to be the MVSX, which had or has 50 Neo Geo based games on there. Now, did they release every single Neo Geo game that was released by SNK? Unfortunately, it didn't. There were people that were missing some that were out there. Now, this can be a kind of like a cocktail table or a countertop arcade cabinet, or when you buy it, you can actually get it with the actual base as well. Now, they are going based off of the 17-inch screen, just like Arcade 1-Up is doing. But people who have bought this, they are loving it. They are loving the games. Obviously, they have the classic Neo Geo look to the actual games themselves. So you really can't go wrong with this. I mean, they even put a little small dinky quarter adhesive to it, I guess you want to say. It's just not necessarily a sticker, but it's a little piece of plastic. It looks like a coin slot. So they even did that on the big one as well to give it a more nostalgic feel. Now, as any of us know, this is pretty much how the Neo Geo cabinets look. They were just basically red with a little bit of art on the front. But most of it was at the very top on your actual marquee itself, just like this picture, where it only had about 3 or 4 different pictures there. That's if you got one of the multicade ones that had multiple games on it. Not all of them had that. So theirs average about $500. Arcade 1-Up, theirs average anywhere from $300 up to $550, where your Legends Ultimate, it's looking like it's teetering about $600. So kind of like that $400 to $600 slot is pretty much your sweet spot when it comes to many of these machines. Now, when you start looking at the small tabletop quarter arcades, whatever you may want to call them, you have two main companies that are actually releasing these. Now, you have people that are releasing pictures that they've made of some of these where they have action figures playing against them. So they look like they have an actual arcade with these actual figures in them. They have ones like Dragon's Lair, Asteroids. Now, this is New Wave Toys. Their stuff, in my opinion, is a little overpriced for what you're getting. And in many cases, they are super limited. As you can see, everything that you're going to see on here is pretty much sold out except for the small stuff. So you got Dragon's Lair, Asteroids, Street Fighter 2, Centipede, Tempest. And they have a bunch of little small stuff, even though they also just announced 1942. And there's an actual full-on picture of it that does look a little more true to life. These are going to be kind of hard to play because they are really not that big. I think they're actually smaller than quarter-sized. So if you're going to get them to collect, they are great options for you to get and collect. If you don't have a big room to put some of these arcade cabinets that you're looking at some of these other companies. The other company that's making these are quarter arcades. They're the quarter arcades by Numskull. Now, these are a bit bigger, which you can tell by this lady who's holding the machines up. These are actually going to be a little more playable than the ones by New Wave Toys because they are bigger. Now, they do have your Pac-Man, Galaga, Miss Pac-Man, Galaxian, Dig Dug, Track and Field, Bubble Bobble, and Space Invaders. Now, they are priced pretty similarly to the New Wave Toys at about $120, if I'm not mistaken, when they actually are in stock. So when you start looking at some of these ones at Just Geek, you are going to see that they go for $130. Now, the New Wave Toys, they average about $120. I think for $10 more, you're getting more for your money when it comes to these particular small cabinets. You can see some of the box art that are coming with them, and they have a more retro, nostalgic, full-on feel. The art looks good on the sides. The art looks good on the front as well. Even the box looks really good. I believe they actually can be charged, or you may be able to charge a phone with them as well. So it includes internal rechargeable batteries. So that basically tells you there. They're not super big, 16.9 inches, 6.9 inches wide, or 6.29 inches width, and 8.26 inches in depth. So they are not big, but they are bigger and big enough than the New Wave Toys to be able to enjoy them a little bit more. Now, these are back up for pre-order. Looks like many of the ones that they are doing for pre-order are going to be back in stock or be able to be shipped in June sometime. So you got a few months wait. So they probably have to order a bunch more to be made from China, most likely, which is why it's going to take so long to get them. But hopefully they are releasing a much larger shipment than what they've had before. I think in the past, the ones that they've been releasing have been more kind of to feel things out, to see how people are going to react when it comes to these. So, but that's going to do it for today, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, seeing some of these different companies that are making some of these cabinets. But if you guys have these, or if you are looking forward to anything from these, make sure you hit that like and subscribe and share it with us down below. I only have the Ninja Turtle one back behind me, which I forgot to turn on for my video, but that's okay. You can at least see that it's there in all of its glory. But I hope you guys have some great conversations. Share some stories down below, because I love seeing the stories. You know, I've been a fan of arcade cabinets for many, many years, and have played them since the 80s. Yes, it's showing my age there. But I love sharing this information with you guys, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it as well. So until next time, guys, game on.